Now it's time to get into some book news. Lindsay, what do you have for us?
Okay, so New York City is going to open its first ever horror bookstore. The store is called The Twisted Spine, and it opened in Williamsburg on September 6th. It was founded by partners Lauren Comer and Jason Mello and will sell exclusively books devoted to horror and dark literature. It started initially as an online store that did little pop-ups around the city, but they were able to crowdfund a $40,000 brick and mortar location. So, and we have a horror bookstore here in Texas too, right?
Yeah, up in Lockhart. So when we actually went to it during our independent bookstore day, I can't. What was the name of it again, Lindsay?
Haunt Happy.
That's right. It was so cute. It was a haunt happy place. It was really cute. And the building was actually supposed to be, it's actually supposed to be haunted in real life, which is pretty cool. So they host a lot of parties. I just really love this whole renaissance of having like themed bookstores. Like, we're seeing them with romance and now with horror. I think it's just really catering to like the likes of our people and just kind of finding those niche things that we like to read. It's pretty fun.
I just like the idea that there are enough readers that they're like, you know what? We don't even have to carry things outside the genre. Like, we have enough people to draw in a crowd just on this one thing. I think it's cool.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, our next story is less happy, but I feel like I can't not talk about it, which is the National Endowment for the Arts cancels endowments for the 2026 creative writing applicants. So many people on social media were posting the letter that got sent out. According to Publishers Weekly, the annual program had to date offered grants up to $50,000 in fiction, creative nonfiction, and poetry to published writers. However, they emailed applicants a few weeks ago stating that they'd canceled all grants in the creative writing category due to, quote, the agency updating its grant-making policy priorities to focus funding on projects that reflect the nation's rich artistic heritage and creativity prioritized by the administration.
Oh,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just like, I was gonna ask, like, oh, like rich artistic things, like, what does that mean? And then after you finished that sentence, I was like, oh, okay, got it.
It's a disturbing statement, right? That's in the official letter. And it's interesting. So the Authors Guild said, like, they were obviously extremely upset about this. And they say the Trump administration's cancellation of the NEA's Creative Writing Fellowship is a devastating blow to literary culture in the United States and an encroachment by the executive branch on Congress's authority to direct funding. And he eliminated it and it constituted 0.003% of the federal budget in the fiscal year of 2026. So like it feels very targeted. I don't know about you, but yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think right now, we've had like our National Library Association has also they've removed quite a bit of their funding. So there just seems to be a little bit of a pattern where a lot of the books and reading materials, writing are just getting defunded left and right, which is unfortunately.
So here's what I say. Go out and buy your indie book authors' books immediately. Pre-order them. This is the way that we get, it's interesting. Sorry, and I'm going on a rant here, but I just think it's interesting because like we talk about this in filmmaking too a little bit, right? Where people are like, I'm sick of sequels. I'm sick of Marvel movies. And it's like, cool. Then the way that you get around that is that you start buying tickets to movies that are really weird and different and new so that people know and publishers know that there's a longing for a different kind of story. And so I hope that's what happens here.
Me too. And like, you may be wondering like, well, how do I find like a good indie author? Like, how do I connect with this
how do
new
you find?
like content market? And like, I personally, like, I wasn't very much involved in that space either until I started doing a lot of like visiting my local bookstores. Like they have a lot of relationships with the local authors and they might be able to tell you about like incredible stories that I might be getting the air that it deserves. Also, when we go to like our little or indie bookstore crawl, or when we do like a little book conferences in town, that just introduces us to a lot of authors that have incredible stories to tell. So try to get involved in your community because that's what's going to open up the doors to a lot of the indie authors that you may not be aware of, and they have incredible stories to tell.
Yeah, you're so right. That's how we found Abigail Owen. We just randomly went to an event and like that was like one of our favorite books last year.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, next story. Sorry, I'll get off my little soapbox, stepping down.
All right. So, on other news, Jeanette McCurdy just announced her new book. As you guys know, she's the writer of I'm Glad My Mom Died, which we both love that memoir so much. The book is called Half His Age and is described as a sad, funny, and thrilling novel that follows a 17-year-old girl named Waldo as she navigates an affair with her teacher, exploring the complexities of desire, power, and self discovery. The book is set to be published on January 20th, 2026. I'm a little nervous about the topic of the book, but she's
too.
such a fantastic writer, or like she did so good with her memoir that I have high hopes that the story is going to be compelling, but it makes me very nervous.
I think she is someone who has done enough therapy to be capable of a lot of nuance and to know like how I know I don't want it to get into Lolita territory where we're like, oh, this is so like sexy. It's like, nope, that's grooming. It's illegal and it's disgusting.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't, but we'll see. I know that she's doing really well. I know that she's also like finishing up. And I don't know if she's producing or directing the adaptation of I Glad My Mom Died too. So she's been like quite busy lately. And I know that this is in her book. She talks about that this is what she wanted to do. She really wanted to write. She wanted to be more behind the scenes type of thing. So I'm happy for her that
Our girl is growing up.
I know she's getting to do what she wanted to do. So I'm excited and happy for her.
Me too. Okay, and I have some good news now in the book ban space, which is like pretty rare. I feel like I come on here all doom and gloom, but for once, I have positive news. An Orlando federal judge has struck down parts of a Florida book removal law. The Florida judge says House Bill 1069, which allows parents to challenge books offered by local school districts, is overbroad and unconstitutional and impeded on a student's First Amendment rights. This case was brought by a parent, Judy Hayes. She was the plaintiff, and she said she was compelled to bring the case on behalf of her son when he was unable to find foundational literature in his school library. She said, I think the opponents on this case are trying to make it seem like they're putting pornographic material in kindergarten when clearly we are not. We're putting Beloved in the hands of high schoolers. You know, we're putting Of Mice and Men and Fahrenheit 451 and these great classic books that aren't perfect, but they're a big part of what these kids need to learn in school. And I just thought like the reason I included that was I was like, oh, what if like 100% accurate way to defend why this is insane, you know? I just thought it was such a good like plain speak synthesized way to be like, these book bans aren't like, it's like stuff that you've been taught for decades, you know?
Yeah, we should just be referencing to that little quote because I feel like we've come on to talk about that so long and we just go on like a 5-minute rant and then that was just summarized in like 30 seconds.
We love a rant.
Really
I
nicely.
particularly live for a rant. So I'm not going to promise I'm going to do that. Sorry, Magda, you're still going to sit there blank faced as I yell into the void. Okay,
No, that's good.
else?
But that makes me really happy. That's good.
I thought it was
And
cool
then
too.
on the last news, I don't know if you've ever heard of this book. It happened one summer by Tessa Bailey. It's like that nice little blue cover and it's like all over social media. I know like a lot of people really love this book. The adaptation is going to star Nina Dobrev, Tyler Hoechlin, and Virginia Gardner. And the movie is actually going to be directed by Peter Hutchings, who directed the Hating Game, which, you know, that's one of my favorite romance books that I've read.
Yes.
And the movie to me was a little bit of a letdown. So I'm a little bit worried, but maybe he learned from his mistakes. He got some feedback and the adaptation's going to be amazing. But this book was really popular in Book Talk. It had over 235 million hashtag views and it still to this day remains a bestseller. So way to go for the Tessa Bailey fans. You're going to be getting your first book adaptation, which is pretty exciting.
All right. Do we have anything else for book news?
That's it.